nice and warm. So warm. Wait a minute. What's... How's that?
Nice and toasty all the way around.
Oh, hey, what's wrong? You hungry? I found your food.
Welcome to another edition of Extra Butter. There is nothing good about Night School, but everything good about Night School, the movie starring Kevin Hart. He's stopping by. Also, Hellfest, the best horror amusement park you'll ever go to. The only problem is, you'll never go again. And Smallfoot, they're singing, they're dancing, they're Yetis. Channing Tatum's in it, Common's crushing it. They too joining us for this edition of Extra Butter. How you guys doing? Just a show a week, show up. We talk about movies pretty much the way you talk about movies, and you talk about movies exactly the way they talk about movies. I just hang out with my friends. Normally I have popcorn, but today I forgot the popcorn. Fortunately, you brought the popcorn!
Kelly came in clutch this time.
Fantastic.
Every time, but this time more, because you forgot.
Thank you. I bring the popcorn in the party. You're welcome.
With extra butter. Had to say it. Somebody had to say it. The only reason I'm saying that is because the guy over there put the butter on and said, "You want extra butter?" You see what I did?
Wait, didn't you say you were the one that buttered the popcorn? So were you talking to yourself today?
I may have buttered the popcorn. Hey, kids, welcome to the show. We're talking about Smallfoot today, but first of all, let's get to know everybody. The world-famous, world-traveled stand-up comedian. You saw him on The Late Show. Oh, yeah. You saw him on The Today Show. You saw him on The Office. You saw him... Where are we going to see you?
You know what? You can see me on...
Where do we follow you?
Oh, Mike E. Winfield Everything. Yes.
Excellent.
And that's where you can see me.
All right. The newly engaged, just the sparkles on her ring alone are blinding us with science, ladies and gentlemen.
It today.
You're not wearing the ring? I suspect that's about how long the marriage itself is going to last. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
Some of us like our future spouses, okay? And you can find me at Kelly Savannah Deaton.
Exactly.
And my ring will be there too, all over online.
And you are awesome, and your fiance Brandon is awesome. And I love my future spouse. Hey.
He's married.
Somebody called. All right. Hey, you know her, you love her. She is a YouTube extraordinaire. Maria Gloria.
Maria Gloria with 2 A's.
All right.
Here.
As I was showing up and people were unpacking gear, I thought I heard you say, "I hate it when people go."
But that's our thing.
But that's our thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
We were just making sure that it was okay between us during texting times. How we would spell it out.
That's part of the club experience.
It's their thing. If you want it to be the thing too, by all means follow us on Facebook, Extra Butter TV. Now let's jump into what's killing it at the box office this weekend. You know, a kid movie that's animated, that's got them singing and dancing, and you got Channing Tatum and Common in it, and Zendaya, and Smallfoot. You know it's going to be awesome.
James Corden is my favorite in this one, I have to say. Love me some James Corden.
Yeah, you can hear his voice a mile away.
I think the reason this movie's gonna do so well is because it's a retelling of a story that's been told over and over again with a twist, which is something that's not very original, but they went pretty original with this.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
So original, I don't even think I know the original story.
Yeah,
Tell me some sort of, oh yeah.
Bigfoot.
And how we're always wondering if Bigfoot's real.
Of it. Yeah.
Right.
Now they're trying to find Smallfoot, like the human experience. So there's 2 sides to every story, people.
Exactly.
Remember that, kids.
Right, and that's one of my favorite things about it, when they show the juxtaposition of what this person, what the little person sounds like to the Yeti, and what the Yeti sounds like to the little person. Beautiful.
Yeah.
As are these 2 people, Common and Channing Tatum. Talk to them. Take a look.
Well, I gotta be honest, the coolness on this side of the room altogether, a little intimidating.
Well, even just as a human, even just as a human, I'm a fan. You know, it's like he's obviously talented. Everybody knows about his talent, but just I think there's a very big difference of artists that, you know, are good at what they do, but who they are doesn't supersede their talent in a way, and I think Common, just who he is as a human, supersedes his extraordinary talent as it is.
Amen.
Good, thanks. Good.
We have a mutual friend, so I can concur and validate that response. All right, so I'm spent, so I'm going to turn it over to viewers, okay?
Cool, great.
This is Nigel.
Hey guys.
I was actually wondering if it was easy to become or create your character while in the studio, or if it was very difficult not having your fellow actors around you.
I don't think I call it difficult. It's just a different way to act, you know, because there's no wrong. You don't know where you really just got to listen to your director and kind of, because he's got the whole thing, like kind of at a 30,000 foot view, and is really moving all the levers and dials and things, and you know, we'll go down like a track of like a bit or something, and he's listening. So he's listening, and you just have to like really trust that he knows where you're supposed to be, and just kind of surrender to that.
Yeah, and you have to be open to that you're gonna like develop and find that voice and find whatever vibe you need for the scene. You have to just trust in the director and trust in, you know, the process, because it's not as much like you're not getting rehearsals. You're not getting like you've done all this preparation for the character. So you really have to, I mean, it did feel like you had to be open to the spontaneity of finding that voice in the booth. At least that's what happened for me. I found like, we found it together, Kyrie and I, the director and I.
Love those guys together. Channing has gotten a lot more mellow. He's not like working as hard these days, you can tell. Like, he knows he's Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Talking about Common, Common's a guy that could probably relax. I mean, this guy already has the Academy Award, always has Grammy Awards, right? That's a guy that can slouch, but yet he doesn't. Every word that comes out of his mouth is inspiring.
He seems like such a decent man too. He just does he have a podcast? We were asking that. If Common doesn't have a podcast, he needs an inspirational podcast, because you follow his life advice. Anything he says.
Anything he says. He can tell me how to make pancakes, and I'd still be like, oh God, what do I do with the batter?
I saw you leading into that interview. I saw you liking that interview.
I mean, anything he says.
Right. Every time they took the two shot of the two of them, she was like that. Every time they took the single in Common, she was like that. Exactly that. You know what she didn't lean in for? My stand-up interview with David Hasselhoff. So someone want to ask me what Hasselhoff was doing on the blue carpet?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know where has David Hasselhoff been in the last 25 years?
Exactly.
20 years?
Well, he's done some stuff. He had the Baywatch movie that he owned a chunk of.
He was in SpongeBob.
Okay.
He was in SpongeBob. In fact, we talked about that. So, for a guy who made his career in the hot sunshine, what are you doing at a Himalayan movie?
Actually, because LeBron James and a bunch of stars that I know are in it, and you know, I did SpongeBob years ago, and then it was a chance to actually bring out my assistant's kids, wherever they are, flying around behind me.
There you go.
And besides, she loves animated films, and so we're here to have fun.
Surfing the Hoff is my favorite cinematic movie moment of all time in SpongeBob, so good to see you again. What do we think of the movie? I liked it. I don't think it's like, you know, the greatest animated movie ever, but the kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, like I said, it's a retelling of a story that might hit home to a lot of people, and it's really cute, and it has a dynamite cast. Like I said, Common.
All right, coming up in a moment. You know what you're not gonna like? Getting a refund for your ticket to Hellfest. You won't get a refund because you'll be dead. We'll be talking to the stars of that film. Also, Night School. Again, the only good thing about Night School is going to Night School with Kevin Hart. He'll join us to talk about that and more on Extra Butter in moments. Hey, welcome back. You know, it's always a good weekend when you got this show, Extra Butter, talking about movies. Follow us on Facebook. And a big round of applause for the men and women of the Armed Forces watching on American Forces Network worldwide. Thank you for being a part. And thank you for being a part. And you can also check us out on our YouTube channel. And of course, thanks for following us and joining the discussion on our Facebook channel, Extra Butter TV.
Yes.
All right?
Thank you.
What's the discussion?
Night School. You know it's a good weekend when we got a new Kevin Hart movie, which I will say is about every other month.
Right? He stays busy.
Very busy.
Stays busy. That man still's doing his stand-up. He's like in literally everything, like you've been discussing. And he made a book too. Like he just has a foot in every.
A little foot.
A little
it's still
foot,
there.
But it's still there. Yeah.
I'm excited. This one, Tiffany Haddish. That's what we needed to see. The combination of the two of them, and she's more demure.
Yeah, have you noticed she tones it down next to Hart?
She tones it down. You think they would bring it out in each other, but I kind of like this new Tiffany Haddish because she still slips in a line here and there, and you're like, oh.
They have really good chemistry, but that's because they knew each other way back in the day.
Right.
Back when Tiffany was actually homeless, living in her car. Kevin knew about that, and he got her a week at a hotel because they did improv at the same comedy club in Los Angeles.
Well, those, you know,
so they have history.
That is a very tight family. You would think that it's a giant universe of stand-up comedians in North America, but it's actually a tight-knit group. So have you had to cross a path?
Yeah, we cross paths a lot. I see Tiffany, you know, in and out in LA, you know, Kevin every once in a while at the comedy club. And yes, he's forking out all types of movies, staying busy. But what he's doing also that I like is he's becoming controversial a little bit, and that's helping numbers. Like things are happening, a lot of trash talk online, a lot of Instagram beef.
He's
that's
staying relevant
good
with Cat
to
Williams.
me
for, you know, bringing eyes to your project.
Yes. Right. Have you noticed his public persona used to be a little bit more down the middle, and now his public persona is resembling his act a whole lot more?
Yes, it's slightly starting to move. I like it too.
I like him in this movie. He talked. Take a look.
I farted. She whooped the fart out me in that scene. Like, and that was it was like it happened. And she stopped. She was, "You just fart?" Like, yeah, you whooped it out of me just now.
But then I farted on you.
You did one too.
Yeah.
That was in that was another one. So
yeah, in another scene.
It was a gassy shooting.
Wait a minute, it just doesn't seem the same as usual without somebody, especially Kevin Hart, hitting you in the face or kicking you. We need some of that.
Because I had to be at the Toronto Film Festival. I didn't really do that interview.
Come on.
However, I don't want to displease, so I prepared a little something. Please enjoy me getting the crap beat out of me by Kevin Hart.
2.
It's okay.
You all right? Are you okay?
I got room for one more.
Huh? You got one more? Oh, that's... There you go. All right.
So I just want to bid you adieu.
No, not again.
Damn, I'm gonna get some of that.
No, Jack, no, Jack. Jack, that's too far away, Jack.
Wait, you got beat up, but he didn't hit you. He was saying it looked kind of fake.
He was an accomplice, though, right? And
I guess.
He tried to correct Jack Black to make sure he really made contact with my ribcage.
That's true. The intent was there.
I'm kind of
That's
sad.
what Walt Disney said. Give them what they want. So there you go. All right, let's switch gears. Something entirely different. Hellfest. If you can see but one scary movie this month, I suggest you go see Halloween coming out in a couple weeks.
Yes.
However, if you're going to see two,
time.
then see this one too to fill the time.
Like a nice little primer.
Yeah.
If you do want to go see this movie, some young people go to an amusement park that has horrors and they're actually killing people in their mazes. Take a look.
Among the masks and make-believe, where everyone trusts it's all part of the show,
I'm gonna need her back, dude.
someone is not following the script.
Do you think you're scaring me? No. Move.
And his idea of fun
Help me! He's following me! I can just do it.
is murder.
So I think that, you know, if anybody comes out of that movie and goes, oh, that's not the movie I thought it was going to be, how could you not, based on the trailer in that
the
clip?
trailer alone kind of says it all.
Right?
It is what it is.
All right. Coming up next, something entirely different. Mike E. Winfield says it's a long time coming.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Talking
it is.
about Uncle Drew, the YouTube sensation, now turned major motion picture you can bring home now. Stars next. Hey, welcome back to Extra Butter. Even though we're in this crushed movie theater, it's time to talk about what you can enjoy at home in the comfort of your own living room, naked if you want.
Whoa, that's not why I did this. I did this because basketball's good.
I'll be enjoying it naked.
All right, let's talk about this. Uncle Drew is not a comedy with basketball. It's a basketball movie with comedy. Mikey Winfield, you say it's a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. These were sketches years ago in between, you know, actual games. And Kyrie Irving right now has been the star of it, and his star's rising. He's actually set to have probably his best year as a professional basketball player.
We talked about his acting chops. Take a look. What was the biggest hurdle to overcome?
The commitment to acting. I would say that, you know, being on set, having different call times, knowing where you had to be for a specific scene, the scenes going out of sequence, the makeup, I mean, all that was a commitment to acting. It was well worth the sacrifice, so I would do it again.
So what's remarkable about this, and we talked about it already, that the acting in this is solid and
It's
the
so
comedy hits on point. Yet
Yes.
these are athletes. It's not even what they're trained for. Lisa Leslie, how about her?
Yeah, Lisa Leslie, superstar, WNBA player for years, retired now.
It is so surprising, though, that these are basketball players.
Talk to Reggie Miller and the aforementioned Lisa Leslie about it. Take a look. So doing a basketball comedy, you still want the sport to be legit. So how do you feel about that? Seeing some of these scenes played back?
Well, we made sure, because we've all seen basketball movies, and you're at home, you're like, it wouldn't go down like that. They're not playing like that. That wouldn't happen.
Or an awful follow through that look like, and it's all net. Somebody shot it.
We made sure. We went to the director, Charles Stone, and we told him, look, these basketball scenes have to be authentic.
Imagine being a kid, man. This is for, you know, children, especially bringing this movie home. They will love this.
You know what that reminds me of?
No.
Solo! Also now available on home video. Coming up in a moment. Star Wars! We got yet another Star Wars movie.
Stay on target. That's what you guys say.
Ford, but we're talking to the new Han Solo next. Welcome back. It is Extra Butter, the show we talk about movies where you talk talking about movies, I feel like we're preaching to the choir because you probably already bought or downloaded or are about to watch Solo with your family. Am I right?
Yeah.
Or you're not. Or you're not. Or you've already decided no.
I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I'm not. I'm really not. But I love me some Danny Glover. That's his name, right?
Yeah. Donald.
Donald Glover, not Danny Glover.
Danny Glover's quite nice as well.
He's lovable too.
Donald Glover.
That's me with Jeff Goldblum.
I love him. I love him so much, and he's one of those guys that he's just a jack of all trades and a master of all of them, and it kind of makes me mad, but I love him too.
I want a Lando film, a solo Lando film.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna work. That's in the. I heard that could be in the works for him.
That's what I'm talking about, and that's what I talked to Donald Glover, Mr. Childish Gambino about.
Woo!
Not true. I didn't talk about any of that stuff, but we did talk about the fact that his dad is very proud.
Oh.
Your pops, he was the first person you called when you got the gig, right?
Yeah.
What did he say? How'd that go down?
He was just kind of speechless. He couldn't believe it. It was just, I had to tell him, just because he was the one that introduced me, and Lando was the first toy I ever had. So he was kind of speechless. He was like, this is incredible. How are they even going to? I think it was just he was like, how are they even going to do that?
Yeah. All right, Ron Howard directing this movie. How are we feeling about that?
Man, we want Ron Howard. You know what? I saw some old Happy Days clips. I don't know if you ever seen Happy Days.
Richie Cunningham's going to be directing Star Wars.
It's kind of a funny show.
All right. So the funny thing about that is when he was doing Happy Days, he was already a big star. That year, he and his wife stood in line, like the rest of us, for 2 hours to see Star Wars twice. Take a look.
My wife Cheryl and I love movies. We still do. We still go. And it's always been our date, our thing. And we went that weekend. And of course, I'd been directed by George Lucas and knew George, but I hadn't read the Star Wars script. Knew a little something about it. And we went opening weekend, Saturday. Went to a 10 o'clock show so we could get in. And in those days, long lines for movies. Went to the Chinese theater. So blown away by this movie, both of us, that we got out, left. There were 2 more lines. We knew there were going to be 2-hour lines to get in again. And I just said, "Do you want to see it again, babe?" And she said, "Yeah." We got in another line, stood 2 hours, and saw it again, and were blown away again. I mean, he just changed movies in a lot of ways with that film.
I'm an old guy, so I'm admittedly having trouble letting go of Harrison Ford in the role of Han Solo. Although I like Alden, I kept having trouble believing that Alden was going to grow up to be Harrison Ford someday.
Yeah, I don't know. Harrison Ford gave him the okay, but I wonder if that was because he knew it was already going to be made. So, I mean, to get the okay from Harrison Ford,
yeah.
I mean, that's...
He got the blessing.
He got the blessing, but I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, and I kept thinking back, oh, does Harrison do that? Does he make that movement? So it had me thinking the whole time, which kind of took away from the movie, to be honest.
I think he stepped into the role, he took the blessing, perfect, but I think he really made it his own because as somebody who didn't really follow Star Wars, I think he did a great job. I believed it.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
It was an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I caught up with him, and he won me over just seeing how geeked out he was because he and I were walking through Industrial Light and Magic. He got to see it for the first time while I was there. We talked. Take a look.
Talk about the day. What was going through your mind the day that you screen tested with a Wookiee next to you? As I point to Darth Vader, but I'm saying the height is appropriate.
He's a lot taller than I would have thought, and you see that in the movies, but when you get there, it was lunchtime, and I was kind of jet-lagged, and then he showed up, and it was just, that was where it got really surreal. And I had to learn to do Shriwook for my audition, his language, that thing. Yeah.
Oh my God, did you, come on, break up another set, give me a little more.
Yeah.
Now, are you so deeply embedded that you know what you just said?
No, I can't say that.
Okay.
But we did, in the movie, work out what sounds meant what and figured out the whole language.
All right, it would be a great honor if I did Wookiee speak with you. Just pretend we're having a conversation.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's kind of like a dry gargle, which is weird.
Exactly.
Good guy, genuinely geeked out to be at ILM, Industrial Light and Magic.
Did you ever give him your toy back?
No. Here's the thing. While I was there, camera guy Mark and I we stopped at Target and gave him the very first Han Solo doll he had ever seen.
Stay on target.
Take a look. He's unwrapping it. He's playing with it. And I want him to keep it, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then check this out. Later on, when I caught up with him for the sit-down interview, he didn't keep it.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. How's
All right,
it going?
and don't lie to me, and my feelings aren't going to be hurt. But
Yes.
I do know that I handed you the very first Han Solo doll up at ILM.
Yes.
And we're packing our gear up, we're walking out, and all of a sudden you start opening it. He's unboxing it. I've got to watch this. I got to get his reaction. So, is that a coveted Han Solo doll, or did you give it away? Do you have it? Is it in a drawer in your luggage somewhere?
I don't know where it is. I'm sorry.
But I spent.
I know, but there's something. I think if I found myself at my house playing with the action figure,
that would be odd.
There would be something sort of. I think it's a good sign that I've gotten to a bad place if that's where I'm at.
Breaks my heart. The guy holding that camera guy Mark and I both pulled off in Vacaville at a Target, bought him a toy, and he didn't even keep it.
He didn't stay on Target.
Stay on Target.
Losing at Target.
Shop at Target.
Wow.
That should be a slogan. All right, I say rent Solo. It's definitely great to own. I know it's not the best Star Wars movie ever, but it's a nice Star Wars movie with training wheels.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think if you're a huge Star Wars nerd fan, you're going to want to buy this. Otherwise, just rent it. It did keep me entertained throughout the whole thing, and that's hard for a Star Wars movie to do. They are pretty to watch, but this one had a lot more action. And I love me some Woody Harrelson. That's my guy right there.
Woody's great in it.
Yeah. I say watch it somehow, maybe renting it, but you don't need to keep it.
There you go. 99 cents. Is that what you're saying?
Sandy Newton. The cast is well-rounded.
Newly Emmy Award-winning Sandy Newton, by the way.
Sandy!
She has the best part in this movie, albeit brief. And if I say more, I'm going to plot spoil, so I'm going to shut up and just. Hey, thank you again for watching Extra Butter. Follow us. Keep the discussion going. See you next time.
Bye.
For you.
One for you. One for Grandma on the back.
For Vacaville.